We have the tech to get food delivered in 15 minutes, but we all have horror stories about buying tickets. The Game Time app gives fans the advantage. Get amazing tickets in just a few taps. Fees are included, so what you see is what you pay. And the Game Time guarantee means authentic tickets at the best price every time. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets to concerts, sports, comedy, and more with Game Time. Download the Game Time app and create an account for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply.
Always follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
It's a great day to be alive, and it's a great day to be a better. Welcome to another edition of Follow the Money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. We are not Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard. We are Femi Abebefe and Dustin Swedelson filling in for the fellas on this Friday of Memorial Day weekend. Dustin, how we doing? You can start to feel, I know it's not right now illustrated behind us, but you can start to feel walking into the property here at the Circa Resort and Casino in downtown Las Vegas that this is a special weekend here as we're kicking off summer.
Oh, well, also, if you're going to sign up for the contest, you got to get in early if you want to get one of those hats. I waited last year. I did not get a hat, remember?
Same.
Contest opening up. Got to get in early if you want one of those caps because odds are it'll be the only thing I walk away from at the end of this thing. But a couple questions to start off. First of all, are we sitting too close?
I think we're proper distance, right? Luke has given us the thumbs up behind
I think of the song Too Close from back in the day. When you find out what that... I get so excited. You got to read between the lines. Secondly, Femi and I walked into this studio. Stormy Bonantoni was by herself for the last 2 hours. My girl had that thermostat on 71 degrees in May.
It's a certified sauna.
I mean, what? Look, man,
certified.
I'm up 67 units, and I'm not talking about my bets. I'm talking about the LBs lately. I can't be affording 71 degrees before a 3-hour show. I'm going to have to go Joe Sorallo or Ben Wilson this thing and undo a few buttons over here.
Shout out our guy Ben Wilson. Joe Sorallo, who I work with on Sundays, Live Bet Sunday. Make sure you check that out later on, noon to 4 West Coast time. That's 3 for 7 East Coast for those of you out there who can't do the math. Definitely a button-down guy, but I tend to be a button-down guy as well.
Yeah,
let the chest hair out a little bit.
You know what?
Not today, but, maybe on Sunday.
I do it more in the personal life. I should probably do it more here, although I've been told by management, less about you personally, we don't like it, more about the actual bets. So that's why I should probably button this button back up. But we're going to leave it for now.
Well, Dustin Swedelson, the nameless, faceless widget here on VSiN as we're hanging out. No personal talk here from your boy. I think that might be broken over these next 3 hours. But we're hoping you guys hang out with us across these 3 hours. As always, make sure to watch us, vsin.com/watch, the VSiN Watch app. You can listen live as we're in your ear 24/7 on Sirius XM channel 158. And hit us up on Twitter. At VSiN Live on Twitter. He's at Dustin Swedelson. I'm at Femi Abebefe. Let us know how you're liking the show. Let us know what you're betting. Let us know what your plans are for this extended weekend. We also have our entire crew with us behind the glass. Our producer, Luke DeVasa, with us on the ones and twos. How did that work out? Mitch and Paulie got the day off, but Luke out here just grinding away on a Friday Memorial Day weekend?
Bad planning by Luke.
Man.
Because it's always more work to have to work in 2 new pieces to the show. Like, just bail at that point and make someone else pick up the dirty work here, man.
Luke doing yeoman's work, which we appreciate. But for Luke there, if I were him, I'd be like, what the hell did I just do? But, hey, we're going to have a good time, though, nonetheless, as we have 3 guests that will be joining us throughout these 3 hours, starting at 4:30 Eastern time. That's 30 minutes from right now. NBA betting analyst over at Covers, John Metler, will check in to give us his thoughts on tonight's massive Game 3 between the Oklahoma City Thunder and the San Antonio Spurs. Series tied at 1. Cannot wait to watch that game later this evening. Plus, can the Cavs get back into the series against the New York Knicks? We'll ask John that coming up in 30 minutes. 1 hour from right now, hockey insider Jeff Merrick will be joining the program. Going to check in to give us his handicap on tonight's Game 2, Vegas and Colorado. No Cale Makar for the Colorado Avalanche. He was out there in morning skate. We thought he might be able to play tonight. He was ruled out by head coach Jared Bednar earlier this afternoon. And then at 5:30 Eastern, World Series champion executive David Samson, host of Nothing Personal with David Samson, will give us his thoughts and assess where we're at in Major League Baseball as we usually kind of take the 10,000-foot view on Memorial Day weekend. Well, we've arrived, and now it's time to look big picture in the bigs.
Yeah, this is about the point of the baseball season where you have to stop saying, well, it's early.
Yeah, it ain't.
It's starting to get late now for a few of these teams. The identities are still somewhat forming. Just because you're out of it now doesn't mean you'll be out of it later. Plenty of moves to be made. That's where I want to hit with Samson, because we've got a CBA coming up at the end of the year. We probably don't have baseball at least for a full season next year, and there's very likely a salary cap coming.
I hope you're wrong with that assertion, by the way.
My question for him is going to be, how many of these teams that are already outspending everyone else are going to continue to have that advantage and go all the way in the rest of the way and just completely overload their rosters, knowing that once the salary cap comes into place, they're going to have to tear it down either way. So they might as well just put everything to the middle and make bold moves and go for a ring.
So you're saying to spend like there's no tomorrow?
Yeah, I think the Yankees are the number one team I'm looking at. With the pressure on Cashman, with the pressure on Aaron Boone to finally get over the hump.
Pressure on Aaron Judge.
Yeah, the pitching looking like it is. You have to capitalize on these opportunities and windows. And I think for the Yankees, they are the biggest team, one of the biggest teams that takes a hit if we do eventually get a salary cap there.
Yeah, it's a good time in New York if you like baseball, if you like basketball as well, after what we saw last night. How about the New York Knicks?
How about
Go New York, go New York, go! They win game 2 over the Cleveland Cavaliers, 109-93. They cover the number. A lot of betting movement on Cleveland, like a lot of activity on the Cavs. Got all the way down to 5 yesterday after this one closed 6.5 for game number 1. Didn't matter, though. The New York Knicks win. They cover, as it will now be known forevermore as the Josh Hart game. 26 points, 4 rebounds, and 7 assists in the victory.
Knicks minus 750 to win the series. And I got to tell you, Femi, as a New York Knicks fan, as a New York Knicks backer, at 15-1 to win the title. I also have the Cavs 6-1 to win the East. I didn't like this matchup. Cleveland's deeper. Cleveland's better. They have more scoring options. I actually like a lot of their role guys more than the Knicks role guys, at least in terms of adding something offensively. And they've been completely punked because the one glaring issue that the Cleveland Cavaliers have, it's not coaching, it's not talent, it's what's between the ears. They are a mentally weak and soft team, and adding James Harden to the fold didn't really add to that in any way, shape, or form.
I saw a tweet, and it's been making the rounds like ever since Denver lost to Minnesota, and it's like, hey, like throw out the spreadsheets, throw out the analytics, throw out like the playoffs and basketball is all about who's a bleep and who's not a bleep. And like you kind of joke about it, but it's sort of true once you get to this round of the postseason, because all these teams are really good. All these teams kind of look at these things and they're all like well coached schematically. It's kind of like who's tougher? And so far through the 2 games, it's been the New York Knicks by far.
Okay, we're going to bring this back up when we talk about the Spurs later, because the Spurs are a team that's young, that the one knock against them about them getting it to a title and winning it is that they haven't had to climb before. If you look at the Knicks, this core together, they have had to deal with adversity. They've had to deal with the climb. They're doing everything. The tent poles we look for in teams that traditionally win championships, that's this group built on friendship and chemistry and vibes from Villanova. It's working, and it's working with these runs. They went on another run again. 18-0 to start the third, pulled away from the Cavaliers. We're seeing this now from this team. When they get streaky and get hot, they're never out of a game because they can do that, and they can put away opponents because they can do that. When I watch this Knicks team, there's a lot of flaws to be pointed out. But one thing that you can't deny is they understand how to play with each other, and they understand adversity. That is the complete opposite of what I'm seeing out of Cleveland right now.
The message from Cavaliers camp, as we heard it at the podium from Kenny Atkinson, from Donovan Mitchell last night, was, hey, we just missed shots. Like, we had a lot of opportunities. We didn't knock down our shots. Kenny Atkinson even brought up shot quality. I thought we were about to have him on as a guest here at VSiN to talk about shot quality. Maybe we'll have Kenny Atkinson on during the college basketball season.
It's never good when a head coach sounds like a bettor trying to defend why their bet was the right side.
Yes, he's like, hey, like a good bet, bad result is what Kenny Atkinson was saying. But conversely, on the other side, the New York Knicks were not talking like that. Josh Hart, who was the star of the game, his comments afterwards, very, very interesting. Here's what he had to say after the Knicks went up 2-0 in the series.
I'm never a huge analytics guy. At a certain point, they're a lamppost to a drunk person. You can lean on them, but it won't get you home. So at a certain point, you got to have a good feel for the game.
Oh, my God, bro.
I mean, even Karl Anthony Towns can't believe how he pulled it. And he did credit Jay Wright, apparently, is the one that told him that quote back when he was playing at Villanova with Jalen Brunson and those guys. But I think he's right. The analytics, they're a tool in the toolbox. They're a lamppost to lean on, if you will, but it's not going to take you home.
Look, I like analytics as much as anyone who like moderately likes them. I'm not someone who believes they're end all be all. But first of all, I think a lot of people use it as a hedge. I think it's a big issue I have with quoting analytics. Well, the analytics said it was right. Okay, do you know how many times I've had numbers to back up a bet being the correct side of a bet and it hasn't worked out, but a situational human aspect of a game like rest or bounce back or whatever it may be winds up being right way more? You can quote all the numbers you want. At the end of the day, you got to play basketball. And who's the better basketball player, who's the better basketball team? That's what we're going to find out in this series. Now, Josh Hart had an all-time game. Josh Hart was out of his mind. 26, 4, 7, 5 of 11 from 3. And I think here's what's really important. Good coaches make adjustments. Kenny Atkinson has failed now on 2 occasions to make adjustments in this series. Yep. Obviously, the big run in game number 1. But game 2, they dared Josh Hart to shoot the 3. He missed his first 3. They kept leaving him open. He started making them, and they still weren't defending him. That's how he ended up with a playoff career high. The Knicks 9-0, and Hart scores 20-plus each game. And he was knocking down threes. I don't know if that's a recipe that can continue, but I would say Cleveland, at some point when he starts shooting those threes, you have to defend him a little bit differently.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a blackjack player, right? Like he's playing blackjack. It's like, hey, well, like, I'm not going to hit. I'm not going to hit. I'm not going to hit. And it's like, I get it, but you might lose. And in this instance, like, even though mathematically, like, having Josh Hart shoot a bunch of threes, you would think, in theory, good sign for Cleveland. But last night happened to be one of those bad times.
And with that, with Josh Hart, Alex Caruso, the impacts he's had in the other Western Conference Final. I was on VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Maher last night. We were talking about Caruso being a potentially top 5 role player of all time. So I sent it in the group text earlier about who are the best all-time role guys in the history of the NBA. So create your starting 5, tweet us at Femi Abebefe, at Dustin Sweetelson, at VSiN Live. Who is your role player starting 5? Because Josh Hart might be on my 5.
Ooh. So I did not go with current guys. I went with throwback guys. Well, we'll get into that conversation a little bit later on. But to put a button on what we saw, put a bow, I should say, put a button on. Wow.
Button works too.
That's a whole C-Web classic there.
I mean, the button closes sometimes, not for me these days, not with this jacket on, I can tell you that.
He's up 67 units if you missed that one earlier. But to put a bow on it, I mean, you look at how last night's game played out, as poorly as Cleveland played. They only lost by 16.
Okay,
so I'm telling you, I'm just saying.
Lost by 16.
I'm just saying. They only lost by 16. So yes, Dustin Sweetelson, New York Knicks fan, let's not hang the banner just yet. We'll talk more about that when we come back here, as we're just getting started on Follow the Money.
So you're listening to this podcast because you want an edge. But what if I told you you're only halfway there? You've got the mindset. Now it's time to get the toolkit to match. Here's the thing. Pro bettors spend thousands on data and tools, but what they don't want you to know is you can get the same edge for a fraction of the cost with VSiN Pro. With VSiN Pro, you get access to expert picks, public betting data, prop projections, powerful tools, analytics, and more. Tap the link in the description and see why thousands of bettors are already using VSiN Pro to cash more bets.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Welcome back. This is Follow the Money here on a Friday. Femi Abebefe, Dustin Sweetelson. 15 minutes from now, we'll be joined by John Metler of Covers to break down what we saw last night in the Eastern Conference Finals between the Cavaliers and the Knicks. Knicks take the 2-0 series lead, and also what we should expect to see tonight, Game 3, series tied at 1 between OKC and San Antonio.
All right, Game 1 of this series, I can't remember a non-finals game being as good as that one. A non-finals game being as electric as game. I had no idea who was winning it. I had the under. It took 2 overtimes to go over.
That's tough.
It's one of those you just go, you know what? I was right. It just didn't go in my favor.
Now you sound like Kenny Atkinson.
Yeah. No, analytics were correct. We just didn't have the shots fall. I don't know what to make of tonight, man, because you got the 2 injuries for San Antonio.
Yep.
Report I just saw before we hit the air, J-Dub likely not going to give it a go. I am on AJ Mitchell, by the way, over his PRA. We'll see how that plays out. It seems to be that's the dude who benefits the most if J-Dub's not playing across the board points, rebounds, and assists. But for San Antonio, if there's no Fox, if there's no Harper, it really opens up some possibilities, but it also creates a problem because Stephon Castle running the point, he has 20 turnovers in 2 games in this series. That is not something that's going to work against this Thunder defense.
No, that's not going to be good. Like I'm not going to have any bets on that game until we find out the injury report. I'll probably end up betting something on it, but tip off at 8:30 Eastern time. We know how the NBA works with these injury reports. We're not going to find out until like 40 minutes prior to tip-off, which for some reason, like Adam Silver, can we get this corrected? Can we do like how the NFL has the active and an inactive list, like 90 minutes prior to kickoff? Like, can we do something like that? So make it a uniform decision on when these guys are active or inactive?
Now, I want to live in a world where we can take a chance here, though, because, I like to live a little dangerously. My question for you is, if there's someone who benefits if those 2 guys are out, do you believe it is a Harrison Barnes, who's a tried and true veteran to get more minutes, or is it a young kid in Carter Bryant who's looked really good for San Antonio in these spurts? Neither one can play the point guard spot, but they can get more looks out there. They can contribute across the board. I want to look for a player prop on one of those guys, I think, if we don't have Harper or Fox in the game.
I think I would lean more towards Harrison Barnes than Carter Bryant, because Carter Bryant, when he's out there on the floor, his main gig is to usually defend SGA.
Yeah.
And like if you're going to defend SGA, you're probably not going to get a lot of rebounds. You're going to expend a lot of energy on defense. So I don't know like how Carter Bryant, like he'll be out there on the floor a decent amount, but he will have one specific job. Hey, try to slow down the 2-time MVP. Harrison Barnes, might be able to hit some corner threes. Might be able to do something, So I think I would lean more towards Harrison Bryant, or Harrison Barnes. Now I combine the two.
Harrison Bryant, tight end?
I believe so. Wasn't he on the
or
Browns,
the D
right?
tackle? It's either the D tackle or the tight end.
There was a Harrison Bryant like on the Cleveland Browns, maybe.
It's Harrison Bryant and Harrison Phillips. We're doing all five shades of Harrison over here,
yes.
which is a dangerous game to play on VSiN, by the way.
Yes, that is a deep cut for even me. But that is where we're at with OKC and San Antonio. We'll talk about more of that with John Metler coming up in the next segment. But I want to get back to the Knicks and the Cavaliers because we were talking about this during the break a little bit. And you brought up the point, Donovan Mitchell. So you look at the box score from last night. He played pretty well looking at the box score. 26 points, 8 of 18 from the field. It's not a classic Donovan Mitchell game, but a pretty good game nonetheless. But if you watch the game, there's just something off with Donovan Mitchell. He does not look like a guy who has the full explosion. Like James Harden is now like the primary offensive initiator. I know he's a really good playmaker, or at least he was in his prime. But you would expect to see more from Mitchell, and we're just not getting it. He says he's fine, but our eyes tell us the contrary.
Yeah, and Richard Jefferson and Legler were all over it on the broadcast as well, very early in the game, just saying something doesn't look right. And he's a guy who can create. He can create if you give him a few seconds on the shot clock to do something, and he just doesn't have that same explosion to the basket. He says he's fine. Atkinson says he's working through something. So that leads me to believe that Donovan Mitchell's lying. And that is such a failure as a leader of Kenny Atkinson to not be on the same page as one of your star players to cover up an injury. Because, by the way, if Atkinson is saying that, if I'm the Knicks, I'm looking to exploit that in some way, shape, or form for a guy who's not really a good defender to begin with, and you already are attacking Harden, well, if you know that he has a bit of a hitch in his giddy-up, you can just go after Donovan Mitchell every which way. The stats that jumped out to me from this game that really made a lot of sense or didn't make sense to me, Cleveland. James Harden had 0 turnovers. They lost. They had more rebounds than the Knicks. They lost. They shot 18 more free throws. They lost. They held Jalen Brunson to 19 points. Now, he did have 14 dimes, 19 points. If you were to tell Kenny Atkinson to go with his point as to why he thinks that they played well, Harden has no turnovers. You out-rebound them. You shoot 18 more free throws, and Brunson doesn't clear 20 points. You assume you're winning that game.
Yeah, the free throw shooting was horrendous from the Cavaliers.
Well, that
I would say because that, and they were bringing it up a lot on the broadcast because it was so jarring. Dennis Schroeder goes up to the line, misses 2. Donovan Mitchell missing free throws. Evan Mobley missing free throws. It was like I feel like I was watching a college basketball team with the amount of missed free throws that they had.
And what I don't understand is it's baked into the offensive game plan because this was a thing again against Detroit where everyone was crying. There's a disparity in free throws being called. No, guys. This is the game plan. This is what Cleveland does. When you have James Harden on your team, you draw fouls, you get contact, and you go to the line. It is embarrassing to be an NBA player at this level in the Eastern Conference Final and to not be able to knock down free throws that can really decide a game because if they hit a few of those, You mentioned it, 16-point game.
It's a much different game.
We're talking down the wire. It's 7-8 points. That can be a swing just on a couple possessions.
Like 10 missed free throws, 9 of 35 from 3-point range. So like that's why I feel like you're going to get the same game plan coming up tomorrow night for Game 3, which we'll talk a little bit about later on in the program, spinning it forward. Like I don't think they're telling us like, hey, like we had a good plan. We just didn't execute the plan. I would expect to see a lot more of the same as the series is now shifting back to Northeast Ohio. Real quick, though, I did want to get your thoughts on what we saw last night on the ice in the Eastern Conference Final, Game 1 between Montreal and Carolina, because boy, oh boy, wow, what a start for the Montreal Canadiens. The Habs go in there. Like early on, Carolina scores like 30 seconds into the game. It's like, oh, I guess the Hurricanes are not rusty. This is all rest. Then immediately Montreal responds and they go out there and score the goal. And then from then on, it was all Habs. And they ran these dudes off the ice. And now all of a sudden, all the questions about Carolina in the Eastern Conference Final are now resurfacing and people saying, can you really trust this team to get it done, even if they're playing a young team like the Montreal Canadiens?
Yeah, look, this was the rust versus rest debate we've been having for a while because we've been waiting to find out who Carolina was going to play here as they swept their first 2 series. And I think that's the way it shook out with this Game 1. I love a bounce back opportunity on Carolina in Game 2, but all the credit to Montreal, who's won it a variety of ways. They also are 6-2 straight up on the road in the postseason. Carolina's first playoff loss handed them by Montreal, a team that had to go to back-to-back Game 7s, who had their season on the brink. Would they win the last series against Tampa Bay with like 9 or 12 shots on goal in Game 7? Like,
I was on them that day. I was like, I'm like, how are they going to get away with this? And they got away with it. It was unprecedented.
So the Carolina Hurricanes are the 4th team to have 10 plus days off between playoff games, and they join all of those 3 teams to not win, or I guess those teams didn't win their series. But if Carolina isn't going to win their series, the rest would play a role according to history here. I like them bouncing back. I think Montreal is good, and they've been on a run, and I like the fact that they're battle-tested on the road, but good God, a way to back Carolina. That's what I'd be looking for in Game 2.
Doesn't Montreal, they feel like sort of like that youthful naivete kind of team where it's like you don't know what you don't know? Because like sometimes you see these teams like you mentioned your New York Knicks who have been knocking on the door. They know the gravity of an Eastern Conference Finals. The Montreal Canadiens are just like, hey man, like we're here. Let's go out there and play. Meanwhile, Carolina on the other side, it's like, man, this is now or never. If we don't get this thing done, I mean, we might blow up this whole roster. As talented as it is, as great as this team has been under Rod Brind'Amour, they haven't won a Stanley Cup since Rod Brind'Amour was a player on the team. Like, the pressure is all on Carolina, and the betting market is kind of taking your side of this thing and backing this team in a bounce-back spot, but laying that kind of price with all that kind of pressure.
Big number.
I'm not so sure.
Well, they're getting good goalie play out of the rookie Dubs. I don't know how to say his name. I think
Jakub Dobich.
Dobich, whatever. 26 saves, 2 goals.
You might have called him J.K. Dobbins.
Yeah. 6-0 off a loss in the playoffs, by the way, so he bounces back as well. He's coming off a win in this spot. But as long as you have good goalie play, and on the other side, Frederik Andersen, that was a very trendy Conn Smythe bet by a lot of people. He's 6-1 in the market. If he doesn't get to the Stanley Cup final, he is not winning the Conn Smythe.
No, I was doing money moves yesterday with Stormy, and we were talking about the Conn Smythe market. And it's like I was making the point of, hey, Carolina is interesting because they've only played 8 games. They might play 7 in this series. Think about, like, that's almost double the amount of games they've played in these playoffs. The sample size is just so small. And even with Freddie Andersen having the 95% save percentage going into last night's game, it's like, hey, it could just take a clunker, and all of a sudden we reset the market. We got the clunker last night to where things didn't reset, but we're now in motion, perhaps, for seeing somebody else carry the day for the Carolina Hurricanes. But we all looking to make smart bets, and you should as well. Make sure you check out VSiN Pro. You need the subscription because normally it's $240, but now you can get it for $199. And when you sign up today, we'll give you 2 extra months free. That's 14 months of VSiN Pro for less than 50 cents a day with promo code PRO. VSiN.com/subscribe. Use promo code PRO. That's VSIN.com/subscribe. All right, we will keep the party rolling on this Friday because when we come back, we're going back to the hardwood. John Metler of Covers joins us to break down Game 3 between the Thunder and the Spurs.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Welcome back. This is Follow the Money. Femi Bebefe, Dustin Sweetelson in for Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard, hanging out with you guys on this Friday. The vibes are high. We got multiple shades of green out here.
A lot of
on
green.
the set, as it's it's reminiscent of like an Augusta National Friday over at the Masters, a tradition unlike any other. Although I don't know if this one will continue going forward, but we're gonna have fun while we are here. But joining us right now to talk about the NBA playoffs, break down tonight's game, recap what we saw last night, it is our buddy John Metler, NBA betting analyst over at Covers, and he's on Twitter at John Metler, and he joins us via the Progressive Guest Line. John, thanks for hanging with us as always. And I want to start off with what we saw last night, the Knicks beating the Cavaliers to take a 2-0 series lead. You look at the betting market right now, DraftKings has it Knicks minus 750, Cavs plus 550. After what we saw in these first two games, do you think Cleveland can get back into this series, and is that plus 550 price looking enticing?
No, I don't think they can back into it. I think this might be over in 5, if I'm being honest. I think the Cavs are done. I don't understand what the Cavs were even doing, because their whole issue the previous years was you have two offensive guards who can't play defense in the NBA playoffs, and then you trade, and they're small, and then you trade Darius Garland for James Harden, who also just doesn't play defense. I don't think they have an answer for Jalen Brunson. I don't know where you guys stand. I got flamed on TikTok because I was dunking on Evan Mobley. It's his back end of his 5th year, and offensively, I'm just like, where is his game at? Like, I mean, he's a lob threat. He makes good plays here and there. He'll have a post or dunk out of nowhere, but like, you're almost entering your 6th year now. Like, where's like your creation on offense, the back line of their defense? That's the strength of it. I don't think they can go anywhere. They're a great team. They're a great regular season team. But when you get down to the Final Four, when Donovan Mitchell and James Harden are the one playing defense in your backcourt, I don't think you can win a series. I think the Knicks would take this in like 5.
Oh, I love to hear it from you, John, the aggressiveness. So, I'm a Knicks fan, and I'm excited from what I'm seeing, but I have to remind myself, this is kind of like the NFL, the NFC title game. It was Rams versus Seahawks. We know the winner's winning the title. Of these two teams, we've got the Thunder and Spurs on the other side. Can the Knicks actually beat either of them?
Oh, so I think we're in like a triangle of matchups here where I don't think they can beat the Thunder. I think the Thunder take them out pretty easily. The Knicks, I do think they can beat the Spurs, though. And I think the Spurs are a bad matchup for the Thunder. So I think we might be headed for a Knicks Spurs. I mean, the Spurs would obviously be the favorites, but the big matchup in that one is you can't let Wemby be a roam defender and just blow up everything in the paint. And that's where Karl-Anthony Towns and his shooting becomes huge, because he stretches the floor. You have Mitchell Robinson off the bench who could give him some fouls, but I think it's catch shooting that really plays there. I think if the Knicks get into a series with the Spurs, they would at least have a puncher's chance. Maybe they win it in 7. They're not going to blow them out or anything, but I do think they could get the Spurs.
Wow, that's high praise there for the New York Knicks, who, I mean, like 3-4 months ago, I don't think many people had them on the radar in terms of winning the title, but here we are, 2 wins away from the NBA Finals for the first time since 1999, and John telling us that he would like them if they get the matchup of the San Antonio Spurs. We're joined by John Metler, NBA betting analyst over at Covers, on Twitter at John Metlers. He's hanging with us here on the Progressive Guest Line. Let's go over to the West, because tonight's game, awesome. I cannot wait for this one. Series tied at 1, Game 3, and you look at the betting market, it is the San Antonio Spurs who are your favorites. They're laying 2 over at many sportsbooks here at Circa. DraftKings has it at 1.5. Totals at 218. We still don't know the injury status for Dylan Harper and De'Aaron Fox. It's unexpected that J-Dub, Jalen Williams, will be playing in this game. How do you see this one playing out from a betting standpoint? What do you like, side total and prop, Thunder and Spurs?
I like you said, the injuries are huge here because we do have 3 guys tagged questionable, so it's kind of hard. I thought the 2 was pretty accurate, assuming kind of De'Aaron Fox gets in there, maybe with a minutes restriction. Dylan Harper does play. I think if J-Dub is eventually completely ruled out, they did say he's leaning more towards out than questionable. I feel like that's what will happen as well. I do think De'Aaron Fox and Dylan Harper are probably closer to in than questionable. So I think everything might break the Spurs' way as we get closer to game time. You might see this bump up to 3 there. We're looking at the matchups for tonight. It's really this Thunder the Spurs have really tough matchups for the Thunder. The Thunder are built to stop the Denver Nuggets. That's kind of how they built out the roster, right? You have Lou Dort and Alex Cruz at the point of attack. You take out Jamal Murray. You have Hartenstein and Holmgren on the back line. They take out Jokic. That's kind of how they designed it. That lineup is kind of a problem against the Spurs because you can't really play Hartenstein and Holmgren at the same time because Hartenstein's just not an offensive threat at all. Like, you want to keep him in there for his defense, but it allows Wemby to roam. It allows him to bother SGA's mid-range game. So, like, what do you do with the homegrown Hartenstein? Do you split them up? Do you only put Hartenstein in? I think the Thunder, I think they're honestly in a lot of trouble in this series. This is not who they wanted to face. They rely off turnovers. And if the Spurs can get Dylan Harper and De'Aaron Fox back in this game, and they have 3 guards who can create, that is huge for kind of breaking down that point of attack defense where they can take out and suffocate one guard, but it's really hard when you have 3 that can create.
All right, but you like a prop in this game on Wemby. How do you want to attack the board with him in this situation, coming back home where he's not afraid to shoot? He showed us in game 1, game on the line, not afraid to shoot. How are you betting on Wemby tonight?
Yeah, I think as I was joking off air, I was like, this is probably the squarest bet here. I'm gonna go Wemby over 25.5 points. You saw them kind of fade Chet Holmgren a little bit because, like I was talking about, you can't have Wemby as a helping defender in the paint. So they actually went to Jay Will for a little more minutes than I thought they would because he's a better shooter. You can put him in the corner, and it kind of stops Wembanyama from playing that help defense. On the other end, I think that's a great matchup for Wembanyama if he's going against Jalen Williams on the other end. The other thing you like, Hartenstein was like mugging him. The referees watched game tape too. He was all over him. The referees watched game tape too. I'd be shocked if they don't clean that up. And like I said, I do think Dylan Harper and De'Aaron Fox, this bet was kind of more on the injury report than Wembanyama because I do think if those two get into the game, they're able to collapse the defense way more, get him easier buckets. Right now, his buckets were kind of hard because you only have the one guard, Stephon Castle, creating for him. If he gets all 3 in there, I think they can get him way easier buckets around the rim. 25.5. I do like his 3-point shootings look pretty crisp in this series too. So I go Wembanyama over 25.5 points there. I think it was like minus 120. I thought it should be closer to like minus 160.
Well, let's live in like a hypothetical world here. We're going to find out at least in like 4 hours or so who's playing in game 3. But let's say that Fox and Harper are out there on the floor for San Antonio and J-Dub is out for the foreseeable future, given the fact that this is the 4th time that he's injured his hamstring. It sounds like you like San Antonio win this series. In how many games though, John? Like where is it Spurs in 6? Is it Spurs in 7? Like how long does this series go if San Antonio is healthy and J-Dub is out for OKC?
Yeah, I think with the Thunder having home court, I think I'd feel more comfortable saying 7. I think it's still a really good series. I don't think they blow them out, but I just do think they do have the matchups. And like you said, Jalen Williams, that's a huge problem for them losing that second creator. They've really relied on those role players hitting 3-point shots in this series to kind of bail out that offense here. Like Alex, everyone's joking after game 1. They're like, can we really expect that type of performance from Wembanyama again? It's like, can you really expect that type of performance from Alex Caruso again? Like Alex Caruso gave you 30 to send this game to overtime. So like Cason Wallace was knocking down shots. Jared McCain, they're relying on a lot of role players to make shots. And now you're going on the road where, typically role players don't shoot it as well. I think they're really going to miss that second creator because, like I said, Stephon Castle's a really good defender himself. And he's a nightmare for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And also Wemby can also now kind of focus on SGA. So without J-Dub, I would have a really hard time backing the Thunder in this series.
Okay, with all the injury stuff up in the air, let's assume J-Dub's out. It feels like AJ Mitchell, Caruso, those are probably the 2 guys that benefit from that side. Let's live in another hypothetical world, as Femi framed it, where Harper and Fox are unable to go tonight for San Antonio. Is there someone who benefits from their absence? Because I was toying around with Harrison Barnes or Carter Bryant or maybe rebounds and assists for Castle because he's going to have to be that main facilitator. Who do you think benefits the most from a player prop perspective?
I would say Devin Vassell with his points. I thought Devin Vassell, it was about 14.5. I thought it was pretty close. Like you could bet it, assuming like, I think he had a half, like a small lean. If those players play, like you could argue that there is an edge. So if they're out, I think for sure he's going to, that's a player prop you would want to target there at 14.5. It will obviously move if they're out, but I think you could argue that it's a good play even if those players play. So I think he took 12 threes last game. He needs to shoot. He's very clearly, you can tell with your eyes when you watch the game, he's been told by Mitch Johnson, you need to fire as many threes as possible because he was taking contested threes and he knocked down 6 of them last game. So I would say Devin Vassell for sure.
John, we got about 45 seconds left. Who's going to win the NBA title? Because right now OKC's minus 105, Spurs plus 210, the Knicks plus 370. But based on what you've told us here in these 15 minutes, it sounds like you like San Antonio to win the West, and you said that the Knicks match up pretty well with the Spurs. Like, are you going Knicks here to win the title? Are they finally going to end the drought out there at the Madison Square Garden?
You can put it on record. I will go with the New York Knicks. Wow. Becky Hammon will be down bad when Jalen Brunson wins the title because I don't think anyone's I think they've had a pretty good price this whole year. Obviously, it kind of fluctuates a little bit. You can catch better prices, but I just think everyone's assumed that whoever wins the West will win the NBA Finals. But I really do think the Knicks can match up with the Spurs. And if they get the Spurs, I think that's the matchup they need. And I think they could win. And I think that plus 370 is probably your best bet of the three on the board.
Wow. You can even do Knicks over Spurs plus 700 over at DraftKings if you want to bet the exact there. But if you want to just play it straight, Knicks plus 370. That is bold, because it's like you mentioned, a lot of people have been saying the Western Conference is the real NBA Finals, not our guy John Metler, who you can make sure to check out over at Covers, NBA betting analyst on Twitter at John Metler. John, we appreciate it as always. Good luck with the bets, man, and be well.
All right, enjoy your Friday, everyone.
Appreciate it, dude. Awesome stuff.
Joining us via the Progressive Guest Line. Shots fired at Las Vegas Aces head coach Becky Hammon.
Hey, but this also just brings up, if you believe the Thunder are inevitable, this is the last chance to get them at minus 105.
Yes. Yeah.
Last chance, last call.
Yeah, especially if they win tonight. That minus 105 ain't going to be there coming up tomorrow morning. We'll wrap up the hour on the other side. This is Follow the Money. Femi Bebefe, Dustin Sweetelson hanging out with you guys here on a Friday.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
We haven't talked a ton Major League Baseball on the show today. We will talk more about that. We have a lot of baseball bets to wrap up the program with the in-pocket plays. We'll make sure to get to all of that, though. But had some winners. You had the Astros team total over?
First money line, plus 110.
First five. So you had the first five money line plus 110. I had the first five over. Documented in our text chain with our producer Luke DeVasta. Not on the website, unfortunately. I'll tap the chest on that one.
Well, mine was on the website.
Mine was not. I'll take personal accountability on that one. But that game, though, interesting. Top of the eighth right now. Astros with a 4-2 lead. Baseball, how many times do you bet full game in baseball in the regular season? Because for me, it's just first five or bust. Or I'll bet some home run stuff. But I am not betting full game.
I bet some full games. It all depends on the bullpen situation. Houston is the worst bullpen in all of baseball. 5.72 ERA on the year. Yeah. That's why you got to be very selective about using them full game. Hader injured to start the year, and just not the same pizzazz that they've had years past. That's why I went first five with Arrighetti, who's been really good. Now, he worked out of a bases-loaded jam with nobody out. I think that was the third inning, and ended up unscathed. And they won my first 5-4-0 at that point. But yeah, with a team like Houston, you have to isolate the first five because you can't let those guys on the back end make any impact on your game. Now, with bullpens being bad, though, like tonight, I'll have a play on Washington and Atlanta. I'm on the over because Washington's bullpen is the gift that keeps on giving. Yeah. So if we're not over in the 6th or the 7th or the 8th, guess what? 9th inning's always available to go over.
You mentioned Arrighetti. Like, he is a guy that's living a charmed life. This regular season, like the ERA is stellar. Like, it looks really good, but then you look at the under the hood stuff, the analytics, if you will, like fielding independent pitching. Our kids call them FIP. Like, the FIP is telling us that the regression is coming at some point.
No, he's got good stuff. I think he's probably a 4th or 5th starter. The numbers, though, like the surface level stuff, makes him look like an ace right now. And
he makes him look like a Cy Young contender.
He's just not that guy. And he's a little bit more powerful with the strikeouts than this guy, but it's almost like a few years ago, if you remember. I think it was 2023. Bryce Elder had a monster year for the Braves where the ERA was immaculate. And you're like, how is he doing this? He's pitching to contact. At some point, someone's going to get him. No one eventually burnt him. Now, the next year, it came back the other way, I believe, for Mr. Elder. So you're kind of playing that waiting game. When do we start finding ways to fade Arrighetti? But he can make you look dumb all season long if he has these tricks up his sleeve.
Like Seth Lugo was like that a couple of years ago for the Royals. And Seth Lugo's a good pitcher, but he's not like a Cy Young level pitcher, but sometimes he puts seasons together where it's just sort of working for him. I remember I was on him at 150-1 to win AL Cy Young, and I was like, I understand that the numbers say he should regress, but he's not regressing. So it might be time to actually bet him. And eventually he ran into some bad starts in August and September, but he still was a top 3 finisher amongst Cy Young. I was like, it's amazing that this guy got this far, kind of sort of smoke and mirrors the whole season.
But isn't that how it goes too? You're fading it, then you jump in and then you don't end up seeing like the fruits of your labor of joining the party
It's
now
like,
at the end.
Oh, now he had the blow up start. That's great. But we'll talk some more Major League Baseball to wrap up the show. A really, really fun slate. That Rays Yankees series in the AL East is a monster. Welcome back Garrett Cole, as we haven't seen him pitch since the World Series in 2024 against the Dodgers.
Yeah, and some conflicting stuff with what we saw in the minors from him. Now you have to like figure out what was he doing down there? What was he working on early on? Couple long balls along the way, but his last couple starts, he was also dominant, hit 97 miles an hour. I mean, I wonder, we're not that deep into the season. Is there a world where Garrett Cole can compete for the Cy Young if he's out of this world?
I mean, he would have to be like, I mean, Kershaw is like the only guy that's been able to do that, where it's like, oh, I missed like all of April and I came back and then just like shoved the rest of the season and like made up ground and then some and won the award. At this stage in his career, like 35 years old, I don't see Garrett Cole doing it.
No, you're probably right. And also, they got bigger fish to fry. That's why, like, I'm not trying to knock anything here with Cam Schlittler winning Cy Young. I'd love to see it happen. I think he's been awesome.
Humans has a big ticket on him, I believe.
And
300 to 1 or something.
Humans is 300 to 1 on Schlittler. And here's the biggest thing. I'm going to live in the negative world. Well, let's say that bet doesn't cash. Matt Humans could bet on every other option in the market right now and still be profitable in some way at 300 to 1. Like, that's how great of a bet that is. So a lot of people go, oh, the bet didn't win. No, it doesn't matter if it wins. It might win. My concern for Schlittler and for Cole and for any one of these contending teams, you got to win a World Series. You want to manage innings. I don't know if the innings will be there at the end because I don't see Brian Cashman and company putting, individual achievements above their goal of finally winning that ring because God knows everyone there needs it.
Although the Dodgers might do that with Ohtani winning NL Cy Young. They've won 2 World Series already. It's like, and Ohtani clearly wants the NL Cy Young. Like, he is gunning for it.
Hey.
He has put the stuff at the plate to the side. He's like, all right, yeah, the hitting will come, whatever. I want to win Cy Young because I've won everything else. Multiple World Series, multiple MVPs. The Cy Young is the last thing for him to check off of his baseball bucket list.
Well, and the voters want to give it to him. I have him 25 to 1 to win Cy Young. I gave that out
we're
in the
lockstep,
preseason.
buddy. Let's go.
Let's go. It felt like an agenda was brewing. It felt like he was going to make a point here, and it's the last little piece he doesn't have is proving what he. And by the way, I think next year he goes back to maybe pitching a little bit less. He just wants to show what he can do. But I also don't understand how he's minus 475 to win MVP just because he's pitching so dominantly.
Yeah, it's the pitching.
Okay.
Because he's not hitting that well.
So we live in a world now where if Ohtani just does one of the things dominantly, he gets to be the MVP.
It's because he's doing both.
Now, there isn't a clear number 2. That's the problem.
It's because he's doing both, though. It's like, because, the game the other night, first pitch, he hits a home run, then gives you 5 innings, a shutout ball. Who else is doing that?
I know, but
no one else is doing it.
It's just, I think this may be the year we get fatigue. This may be the last year where it's like, it's Ohtani, and then it's someone else after this. I don't know who it is. Now, it's not great coming off his last start, Paul Skeens. I still think there's a world where if Pittsburgh is in contention and Shohei wins Cy Young, somehow there can be a narrative created for Skeens at a long number to be MVP, but it's a stretch. I understand it's a stretch.
Baseball is so funny, though, because it seems like voter fatigue is not a thing that exists. Because, look at just like the last couple of years.
True.
We've had back-to-back Judge. We have back-to-back Ohtani. We have back-to-back Skubal. Get this. We had back-to-back Pat Murphy.
Yep.
And we had back-to-back Steven Vogt for Manager of the Year. Like, back-to-back Manager of the Year?
That's weird.
Like, it's a weird sport, man. Like, I think they just, like, the writers, unlike in other sports like the NBA, NFL, NHL, where they're like, we're kind of tired of this story. In baseball, they're just like, all right, well, who was the best? Who won it on merit? All right, we'll give it to you again.
Yeah.
Back-to-back Coach of the Year?
I think that's
How the hell does that happen?
I do think that's it's weird because in the NFL it would never happen.
It would never happen.
The NFL,
Vrabel's crossed off the list for reasons other than just being Coach of the Year winner. But like, he's crossed off the list even if he didn't do all that stuff.
But he also lost a vote because she can't vote for him anymore. So,
well,
allegedly,
do we know that yet?
Allegedly, he lost one of his voters. But no, it's funny because the NFL Coach of the Year, I hate it because it's subjective, but it's not. The parameters like do more with less. Well, what if someone goes undefeated?
Yeah.
they don't, or someone loses one game. They're not going to be Coach of the Year. Like, I don't understand. Like, it's always do more with less. That doesn't mean you did the best coaching job. Maybe you navigated injuries. Baseball right now, I am looking at Manager of the Year, the markets. Walt Weiss for Atlanta, plus 310. Donnie Baseball, plus 460. Craig Counsell's the third shot on the board at 6.5 to 1. What are we doing here? The Cubs are falling apart.
They are. But people have Cubs fever. People
Don
love it.
Kelly at 7.5 to 1 for Pittsburgh if they make the playoffs. That's auto.
What about Ollie Marmol?
Yeah, but they're going to fade at some
if
point.
the Cardinals play well, as a team that had low expectations, it's the Cardinals, the Redbirds.
No, I get it, but I just think their lack of pitching is really going to show itself in the summer. I think that's what's going to happen there. In the American League, Kevin Cash is your favorite at plus 180, 100%.
I hate it because I was talking to a buddy who he's a local sports anchor in Tampa, and I was like, hey, like, what do you think about the Rays this year before the season started? And because I was asking about Kevin Cash, I was like, man, like this could be like a really good bet because I believe he was around like 18-1, 20-1 to win AL Manager of the Year. I didn't pull the trigger on it, and I've just watched it trickle all the way down, like to now its favorite status in the market. Wow. I'm just like, yeah, man, I just kind of missed the boat on that.
I mean, Venable might be bettable at plus 460 with the White Sox. Their offense has been crazy for the last month.
It's a great story.
It's insane. Yeah, I'm on the Rays win total over 76.5.
There you go.
But I'm also on the Braves under win total. So I like to even these things out.
It all balances out at the end. It all balances out. I mean, my goodness. But yeah, Major League Baseball, a very, very fun weekend on deck for this Memorial Day weekend as we'll finally assess and no longer say it is early. But it's never early to join our friends at the Sharp Plays. The sports calendar never stops, and the Sharp Plays covers it all, and they've been winning for 15 straight years. All of it documented, logs posted publicly at sharpplays.com. That kind of transparency is rare in this industry, and when the Sharp Plays moves, the sportsbooks take notice. Advanced AI, trusted insider intel, they find the value before the numbers shift. Respected, watched, feared. Start winning with them at sharpplays.com. Still 4-2, Astros Cubs.
There's a runner on for Chicago though.
Hello. So we got
tying trouble.
Tying run at the plate. Here we go. Who is it? PC? Oh, PCA. What a week for him.
I mean, treat that baseball like it's a woman in right field.
There's another segment that we could do on PCA's week. I'll just say this as we're about to head to break here, and it's not going to be offensive because I would never say anything offensive. At some point, like, people talk trash. They're going to talk it back to you.
Oh, I'm all for it, by the way.
Yeah. I'm like,
you're a human. You're allowed to react.
You're allowed to react. Like, was it kind? No, it was not, but we all have our breaking points.
Ended the conversation, though.
Hour number 2 next year on Follow the Money.